GingerGM.
Describing HLS, and Bjorn has started with D4. So first things first, if you know what your opponent's going to play, you get a bit of advantage. And I know Bjorn's going to do the Jobava London system. So to make it a little bit more interesting, I could go for the Dutch. That's certainly something. Maybe we'll try that. Maybe we'll try the Dutch against the Jobava London. The other thing I'm thinking of is playing some modern system. I don't normally play D5, so I'm going to go. I'll go what I normally play. I normally go E6 and F5. So Bjorn's bringing his knight straight out, and this is the way the Jobava London system continues with knight C3 and bishop F4. Obviously, I've done a course on this for Chessable. And now, if I play F5 straight away, he will play E4, which I don't really want to do. So I'm going to now put my bishop on B4 with the idea it wouldn't be a winner where, because Bjorn's probably not going to play E4. When you know your opponent's openings, it's a big advantage, right? And I know that Bjorn doesn't really play E4. He won't be listening to the stream either. If you are Bjorn, then turn off the sound when the music's over. Well, you can't. I mean, the thing is, you got to think. It's all good saying play the kings in defense of the Benko, but you can't play the Benko against the Jobava London. You can only play the Benko when White plays D4 and puts a pawn on C4. And I know that Bjorn's not going to play C4, so I can't play the Benko gambit. So there's no way that's going to happen. And now, because he's gone bishop here, I'm gonna play the Dutch against him. See what he knows there. Now D5 is what most people play here, but I prefer this move. I like controlling the center. And now if he goes E4, I will simply capture on E4 because I pinned that knight, so his knight can't come back. And what I'm trying to do is get an opening. Well, actually, the reason you play openings, and this is what people sometimes forget, is not to win in the opening, really. You play openings to get the kind of position that you want in the middle game. That's what an opening is, really, at higher level. You want to get into a middle game position that you enjoy playing. So I think a lot of people learn openings in the wrong way. They look at an opening, they learn an opening, and then they think about the middle game, the end game later. And the issue with that is, you don't know what kind of middle games you're going to be playing. You should probably look at middle game positions of lots of top players. Look at some of the middle game positions that some of the top players keep getting, and if you like those ones, look at the openings they're playing and pick those openings. I mean, I've done quite a lot of courses, as I'm sure you're aware. I'm just going to develop my knight now and control some central squares, get ready to castle. And I play a lot of different openings, but I play some openings much more than others. And the Dutch is one I know very well. And one thing I know to do here is these two pieces you've got to deal with. And if you can get your bishop to B7 in the Dutch, it's normally a good thing to do. Often White stops that by putting his bishop on G2 first. But here, often in the Dutch, it could be a fight for the E4 square. So I'm just going to play B6, and I'm going to try to control that central square from the side. And one thing I get a lot of criticism for, and so does every chess author, especially on Chessable, where there's so many computer people. I don't. This is a modern trend. It certainly didn't be around when I was a youngster. Computers, as I said many times before, they're great for learning, but they can also be a real hindrance for improving at chess. And hold that thought. I don't really want to retreat. I actually think that this knight is more important than my bishop, because this knight was controlling the central square. So I want to increase my control over the center by getting rid of that knight. And I also double Bjorn's pawns, which could be a weakness later on, naturally develop. And yeah, I mean, what a lot of people in chess will do, they look at some of my opening courses and they like, there's a variation that ends on move 20 and it might be like equal. And it's a variation I've given for White, and they're like, oh, well, this is just rubbish. How can you give a variation which is equal? Even slightly worse for White in some courses. I do say when I say slightly worse, it will be slightly like 0.2. And they're like, well, you can't give this. Where's the advantage? This is terrible. And these players are probably like 1400 strength. and they don't understand the concept of openings and courses. And for example, the two last courses I've done are very different. I did one on the English opening for white and one on Grandmaster Gambits. And you guys got to think, I mean, both courses are excellent, have a good balance of a solid opening, the English opening, and a crazy aggressive opening, the Grandmaster Gambits. But you've got to think, what kind of position do you like playing? If you enjoy playing aggressive, attacking, going for your opponent's king, the Gambits course is obviously the one you should do, because you'll get more middle games like that. And they might lead to equal positions, a lot of variations. For example, if black plays perfectly, probably can't get advantage anyway. They might even be, some of the courses I've done in the past, like 0.2 worse. But if you enjoy the positions you're getting, and it's all about enjoying it, because if you enjoy the position, you'll play it better. You'll be like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. You'll know where to put the pieces. So it really is about style. But if you're a more solid player, you should pick the English opening probably, because you get in the game very solidly. You get a nice positional thing. You're not sacrificing pawns. You can do that later on. You don't always have to get an exciting game. You don't always have to play an exciting opening. Chess is always going to get exciting at some point, no matter what you do at the start. But it's really knowing what positions you want to get into from move one. Pick an opening for the middle game. That is the biggest bit of advice I would give doing that. So yeah. Now I'm castling here. This is, again, I think I'm very happy with this position. The only problem you get in these positions is where to put your knight, and often the maneuver of the knight around this way works. I had this yesterday entitled Tuesday. Before I come up with a real plan in the middle game, I often just want to do the basic things. Castle, get some control of the center, develop all of my pieces, and then I look at pawn pushes, I look at weak points in my opponent's position, and I try to combine all these things to get a plan. But I'm also at the moment really thinking about what Bjorn's trying to do, and he can't now play e4 because I'm really covering that square with 3 pieces. I don't want him to put another pawn in the center, but he can't do that. I also prefer my pawn structure because these could be weak in the middle game ending, and Bjorn is now going to castle sensibly. So okay, so we've got to think now. One idea, as I mentioned, is before I even think of a middle game plan, I try to keep things very simple when I play. You don't have to overcomplicate unless I'm playing crazy gambits, but I'm not doing that because the opening has, when you're black, you often can't decide upon the pace of the game. But what I'm going to do here, well, one idea is to, like I say, bring this knight around somewhere like here where it's a bit more active. Moves like knight d5 is also very interesting here, actually, because I attack the pawn and I can definitely win that bishop. So we should have a look at this. Knight here, c4, and if I take there, he takes with his knight. Now I win the bishop, but I'm not even sure I want to do that at the moment. I mean, I can win the bishop easily, I'm sure, with one of these moves, but it does allow his knight to come into the game. It's probably not a bad idea because then maybe my queen can come in. So let's have a look at that. Knight here, he's got to defend the pawn. Let's say he moves that. I take here. You've got to, if you want to try to achieve something positionally, you often have to do that with little calculations of mini tactics. Mini tactics will help you achieve positional goals. So you've got to be good at doing. I mean, I don't really calculate more than 5 moves in unless I'm playing really serious. When I'm playing things like this, I'm talking 5 moves is generally enough. You don't need to think more than that. But let's have a look. Here, takes. Now then, do I have a good queen move? Well, if I go check, he goes g3, doesn't help. If I move my queen over here, he castles, doesn't help. So I'm not sure about that one. The other idea I have got is playing d6 and putting my knight here, and I actually quite like that one. Why do I like that one? Because one of the main ideas I love playing the Dutch is e5. And in this position with Bjorn's bishop on f4, this will gain a tempo. So my plan here, and again I know the middle game plan so well, is to play this move, knight d7, queen e7 and e5. And I think that's a nice plan. This is just an artificial move. I can easily defend that one. So he doesn't have any active breaks I need to watch out for. That one is covered. I've got 2 new pieces guarding it. So I'm just going to continue by putting my knight behind my pawn, leaving my bishop open, and then trying to prepare to play this pawn break in the middle game, which will give me my favorite pawn structure of 2 pawns in the middle of the board. Okay, now I will try to catch up on the chat when I can. So how are you all doing in the chat? Let's have a look. Kid Vicious saying congratulations on your... Yeah, well, I have just signed up to join the Play Magnus group. Metal Patzer, thank you for the thing. So very exciting news yesterday. It's actually been going on for about 3 months of talks and stuff. I basically joined Play Magnus. So well, what that means is that they have basically taken over. Well, they're not taking over GingerGM. They kind of brought GingerGM, but I'm still running GingerGM. That's my company, which I think is great because they have much more cash and resources available to make GingerGM a much bigger company and much better for you guys for learning resources. I've got loads of ideas there, so it's very exciting. It also means I'm going to be doing more chessball courses, as that's, you know, I'm joining their group. I'm going to be doing more streaming for those guys, and also me and Bjorn, who I'm playing here, well for over a year now we've been developing a new website which we're going to try to release in about 4 or 5 weeks. So we're spending a lot of time on that, which Play Magnus have a lot of belief in and also invested into, which is really good because again I don't really have a lot of resources, and with the resources available from a big company, it means I still have control of what I do, but it means we can create more cool things in the chess world, which will help everyone, I think. And it, you know, joining a big company gives me a bit more security, so I can do more free stuff if you don't like spending any money, like these streams, like YouTube videos as well. So it's kind of a win-win situation. So I'm very happy at the moment. Okay, now back to the game. Bjorn's clearly, and the first thing you should always do when your opponent plays a move, you should clearly look at the move they have played and see what their idea is before you even look at your own ideas. Get into your opponent's mind. And here, bishop g5 is getting ready for the knight to come here, but I'm going queen, either queen e7 or queen e8. I might even go queen e8 now. Why do I want to play queen e8 now? Because I don't really want to sit in the pin, right? And maybe even the queen can come over here later to start harassing my opponent's pawns. So I don't see any reason why I shouldn't continue with my plan of developing my last piece. The only thing I'm thinking is he now going to try to play e4? So I go knight here, he goes e4, I takes, and he's got this pin. But the one thing about that position I know from experience, and I'll put this on the board, is that if he goes e4 and I can play e5, that's kind of good for me. Why is that good for me? Because his bishop, you've got to think about your opponent's pieces. You want to make them as bad as possible while keeping your own pieces as good as possible. If he plays e4, he wants to play e5 later on. If he plays e4 and his pawn's kept there, he blocks his bishop in. So that's why e4, e5 would make that bishop very bad, because it'd be blocked in. But Bjorn's a very aggressive player, and he's going for g4. Doesn't surprise me. Aggressive Bjorn. So now I have a couple of options. I could now play h6, ask the bishop what it's doing. I've got to think how I'm going to meet this move, and I think this is a good idea of Bjorn's, makes it exciting. If I take it, takes, I want to be able to play knight e4 there. So the more I'm looking at this position, the more I'm thinking I want to get my queen out the pin. Because if I go h6, I think he'll drop back to h4. He won't take on f6. That will just help me because my pieces can come into the game maybe via h4. But if I go h6, he keeps the pin. The only way to break that is g5. And I don't want to move my pawns in front of my king so much because my king will become weak. So I'm just going to go queen here. And my idea is, again, you've got to think of what your opponent's trying to do. If he goes g4, let's remember his king is in the middle. I'm going to go pawn takes. If he goes pawn takes, I then clear up this square and I'll be able to put my knight into the e4 square. And that will give me great play on the f file. On the other hand, he hasn't opened up the g file. So g4 is a very aggressive idea by Bjorn, but these ideas can really backfire because of the position of the king. Let's catch up with the chat. Someone's saying I'm missing the Star. I do love the Star pub. I am missing pubs in general, but we'll be patient. We'll get back to the pubs again soon. Thank you for the kind words. Let's have a look. Chessball is owned by Play Magnus. Yeah, basically they joined up. They joined up a long time ago. I basically signed to join with mainly Chessable, but also like Chess24 and the Play Magnus group. So I kind of like work for them, but have my own thing still going on, which is cool. Gary Francis saying he really enjoys the new Grandmaster Gambit course. Awesome. The new Grandmaster Gambit course, I'm really proud of. A bit of a perfectionist, and the amount of time I put into preparing the courses, combined with a lifetime of being a professional chess player, it does, it's a lot of work goes into them. A lot of work. Yeah, John Bartholomew kind of owns, I think he's one of the original owners of Chessable. So they're doing big things. Okay, so Bjorn hasn't gone for G4. He's gone for C4. And again, you've got to think, what's his idea? I'm not too worried about any ideas at the moment because this move is very well covered. If he goes D5, well, he is opening up lines towards his king. So I'm not worried about anything he's doing. But I want to improve my position, right? So I could now consider moving the queen over here, because then H6 becomes an idea and his bishop can't drop back here because I'll take the bishop. But the first move I really want to play is E5 because I've lined my queen up against his king and I want to open up his king. But let's have a look. So E5, the only danger is I drop this pawn. So E5, bishop takes F5. And there's no point losing a pawn for no reason. I don't want to play G6 because it kind of weakens my dart squares. I don't like that. I don't like playing unnecessary pawn moves in front of my king. But I want to really defend this pawn and go E5. So another thing I could do is go queen G6, but then he goes G4. And I can't take on G4 because my queen is on pre. So I've got to watch out for the G4 move. Now I could go C5. This is another pawn break. Remember what I said earlier on. Once you've got castle, develop your pieces. You should, in lots of positions, especially closed positions where there's not many open lines, look at pawn breaks that improve your position. I've got to be very careful of my time here as well. I'm spending too much time. But I'm now maybe going back. If I go queen here to my original idea, takes. He can't move his knight, maybe. Okay, I'm going to go queen here. This seems to help my position. It seems to improve my position. The main reason I'm doing this is I want to get rid of this bishop. He can't go G4. This is the one move I'm trying to stop because I take his knight. And I want to play H6. I did say you don't want to play pawn moves in front of your king, but if they achieve a definite goal, then of course you play pawn moves in front of your king. Can I say what's going on with the GingerGM website? To be honest, not much at the moment, really. I mean, obviously, we've got many more resources, so it'll be a long-term thing with GingerGM. I mean, I think it's going to be the same as creating cheaper, downloadable, opening content by top authors. But I just hope to improve things. I want to make a good login system, maybe a members area. There's lots of things I want to do just to make it better. I want to make it as good for you guys, people who come to gingergm.com as possible. So we're just going, open to ideas really. Nothing much is going on with GingerGM at the moment. But we do have another idea which we're spending most of our time on at the moment. And we spent a lot of money over the last year and time developing this other idea. So that's the important one. And well, after queen h5, okay, bishop takes. And now, well, obviously I want to take with my knight, right? Because I want to bring my knight a bit more towards the center. And here I can take this one. This was the first thought. The other backup option, it's nice having a backup, is to just come queen f7 and then I can play my plan of e5. And I kind of like that one because my whole point in this middle game is to get e5 in, and especially when it opens up, his king is just going to be dead. But we should look at what happens if I grab the pawn. If I grab the pawn, I'm a little bit worried about king at f2, funnily enough, because then he's threatening to trap my queen. So I could grab king f2, but unless I have a good tactical move there, I'm probably not going to play that. So if I go queen f2, he goes g4. Well, again, I'm happy to take, and then play my counter strike e5. So I'm just going to keep it very simple. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I don't even want to calculate too much at the moment. I don't need to. I just want to get the ideas right. Taken there, maybe playable. I could have grabbed the pawn, but I don't like giving my opponents the initiative. One thing I know about my own players, I really don't like defending. You know, if you have to defend, you have to defend, but I don't want to give my opponent, I don't like taking pawns. That's why the Grandmaster Gambit's course, I hate to be black in a lot of positions we give, because black, even though black is fine, he has to do a lot of defending, and you've got to try to know what kind of style you have as well. Okay, so as predicted, he's going this one. So now we are going to take here, and it's very important, I feel, that I've got this e5 counter strike. If his king was like castled over here and his pawn was on b2, this would be quite dangerous. But I feel that with the king here, this kind of idea is not really, it doesn't have a good foundation to work. And now I need to do this counter strike e5. I mean, also knight e4, as I was planning, is probably very okay. But I'm just going to do the counter strike now. And the thing is, you can't, one thing you've got to try to avoid doing is you shouldn't go for very aggressive ideas if they haven't got a good foundation. And I'm not saying, well, I think maybe Bjorn is doing that a little bit here. He's playing a little bit aggressively, but I don't think his position deserves him to do that. Now, you can do some aggressive ideas, but going completely all in when your king is still in the middle normally backfires at top level, right? And I mean, it could be dangerous here. He has got the bishop here, but I just feel I like my position. It seems a little bit scary, g4. Well, maybe I'm not that scared, because if his king was over here, I'd be much more scared. But I just feel that if anyone's king's going to be weak, it's his king. So let's have a look. If he moves the knight, I'm doing fantastic. I think he has to try g5 to open up the rook and get the queen in. I haven't even calculated this, just going a little bit on instinct. I did see one line after g5, and that is g5, pawn takes here, pawn takes f6, queen takes f6. And then he can try queen here, threatening checkmate. So I've got to be a little bit careful. And let's have a look. So pawn here takes, queen over here, threatening h7. So takes, queen here. And then I need to stop queen h7. So I could play h6. I can't play g6 because the bishop takes g6. But I don't really like that. So again, I had a backup plan here. And after pawn here, my backup plan is just to put the knight in the middle. He, of course, has played the best move, because putting my knight here at least blocks the bishop up. But maybe I should have treated this a little bit more seriously. Knight here, and if he goes g6, I just take it. I keep the threat against his knight. If I go knight here and he brings his queen in, I think I just take his knight. And I think knight here looks like the stronger option than trying to force it, because I don't like his queen coming over to h5. So knight here, g6, am I scared? Well, I just take it, and I don't see what his next move is, because I'm just going to win the knight. And this knight here blocks his bishop out towards my king, and this is a key attacker. So I'm going to go for this move, and he now could start to see some problems on the open F file at the moment. So what should he play here? Well, if he goes bishop takes, I just take it, and my bishop is very good in the center of the board. Thank you for subscribing. Damalek. If he plays g6, I simply take it. And if he takes with a knight, queen f2 is checkmate. Thank you, Bali, for subscribing. If he goes here, I take it, and he goes rook takes. I just take his knight. I win a piece. If he tries to bring his queen in, I'm just going to take that knight. I just don't feel Bjorn has enough attacking units against my position. Well, actually, that was thank you to Texas. 78977. Thank you, Texas, for gifting the substitutions there. Very kind. Obviously, any support for the channel is more than welcome. More than welcome. And if he starts playing moves like knight h3, he can't go knight h5. Let's remember, queen there is checkmate. If he starts moving his knight back there, I think you can see just how exposed his own king will be. So for example, knight h3, I haven't bothered calculating this one because, like I said before, you play natural moves. I mean, to become a good chess player, you don't have to be an amazing calculator. As long as you have to be able to calculate a bit, as we're doing here, because you want to calculate lines to try to achieve your position, what's desirable to you positionally. Thank you, Jay Pastafari. And thank you for buying the Grandmaster Gambits course, my latest course, and I'm really happy with that one. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it as well. And another thing I can just aim to do here, right, is just take here, and I always like getting every single piece in the game. And if I'm looking at my pieces which are doing stuff, I'm just going to highlight them. All of these pieces are doing something, right? So I was about to say, I just want to get my last piece doing something. Okay, well, my next move is forced, and now Bjorn can never attack me because my bishop defends my king as well. And well, don't start pre-moving. And this queen f2 is a very, very strong idea. Very strong idea. So I think Bjorn's in a lot of trouble. I mean, if he goes knight h3, it's just not... I mean, maybe I can even have some cool tactics like bishop f2, but simply like bringing my last piece into the game is going to be good. But I've probably got something stronger after knight h3. I kind of like bishop g2, rook takes g2, queen f1 check, king here, queen takes their check, and queen takes knight. So if he goes knight to h3, can I play bishop g2? The reason I want to play bishop g2 is his knight there is the only piece stopping my queen coming in here. So if I can get rid of the defender of that key square... Okay, I didn't even see this move. This is probably a better move. He wants to bring his king here. Now, the first thing I'm thinking of, can I force the win here? Thank you for subscribing, and I've got to watch my time. I'm just looking at queen sacrifices, but it doesn't work. I'm also looking at check and maybe just bring my pieces in. Rook f3. When you're attacking, if you haven't got any immediate ways to win with a check or a capture, the next thing you should look at is creating threats that don't do damage to your position. And I think queen in and rook f3, threatening queen takes e3 is just going to be winning here. I don't see any problem why that doesn't work, so let's just do it. Let's go in. I'm just using my pieces, and another rule I have is that when you are attacking, and I am attacking here, first of all, look at your pieces which are active. These pieces are active. If you can do stuff that is good, like create a threat, activate your pieces with your active pieces. You don't even need to bring in your pieces which aren't doing anything. But only if you can't do anything good with your active pieces, only then do I think, okay, what about my other pieces? Let's try to bring in the reinforcements. Only then I'd look at bringing this rook in. But I don't need that rook because I can do something with my active pieces by creating a threat. Taking a pawn is just stupid. The king is the key target, and I can get my rook to a better square now, much more active. I can create a threat of taking on e3, and even when I do bring in my last reinforcement, I might as well bring it into an open file. Rooks are best on an open file. So I think Bjorn is in a lot of trouble now because this pawn is going to drop. And this is what I said earlier. His king is just in such a bad position. If his king was castled earlier, it would probably be okay. I think one of the reasons Bjorn played rook g1, which is very interesting, obviously he knows he's on the stream. He played rook g1 here, and he wanted to make it an interesting game. But he's only made it an interesting game for me. Thank you, Bjorn. I'm afraid. So I don't really see the point of bishop f3 there, because what is actually the threat of putting the bishop on f3? Had I gone bishop f3 in that position, I don't have a threat. Okay, if I take there, he takes back. And you don't want to play moves that just don't do anything. Putting the bishop here doesn't do anything. But putting the rook there does something. You've always got to have a goal in mind when you're playing. And what it does, it's just going to win that pawn. It's very important. Every move, and I do repeat myself a lot in these long play videos, but I'm trying to help you improve the way to think when you're playing chess yourselves. And one thing I will say is that every move you play, you should be able to explain it to yourself in the mirror. Why are you playing that move? What are you actually doing? And you should have a good reason. I mean, let's just take bishop f3 for an example, where you could say it's in a pin. My response to that is, so what? I mean, pins are often good, but pins are okay. Now this move is going to lose a queen minimum, but you've got to try to create threats or really concrete things when you play chess. So you want to be able to explain yourself. Okay, if I can't do anything immediate, I'm getting hold of I'm trying to get into an outpost. I'm improving my bishop. I'm stopping my opponent from doing the plan he wants to do. These are the kind of things you should be able to do. And now, well, this one is, I think, Bjorn offered me a draw there. That's very, very nice of Bjorn. Thank you for the draw offer. And of course now his position is pretty hopeless, right? I can win a queen minimum, and of course I think he at that level is going to be off. We're just going to see if he wants to come on, and we can have a chat about the game. Now, I mean, at the end, his position's pretty hopeless. Rook g3, suggested by someone in the chat, might be better. But do I have a forced checkmate? Yeah, we're going to get Bjorn on. Okay, starting. Cool. Let's just see if we had a forced checkmate here. So I go check, king e1, and then, well, I mean, there's a number of ways to win. I might take there, takes, then bring the other rook in. That would be good. So let's have a look. I would take here. Now, do we have? I'm always looking for checkmate, but let's get rid of one of his defenders. And now this is a case where I bring in reinforcement, just to show the principle I was talking about earlier. Thank you. Let's Chess Live. Thank you very much for the raid there. Most appreciated. Thank you. Welcome to the show. Hello, Perpetual Stalemate. And I just played a long play game against a friend. We're explaining ideas, and we're going to get my opponent onto the show in a minute, so we can see where he went wrong. But this is a typical position where we go over some of the things I mentioned earlier. Remember, when you're attacking, look at your active pieces. These two pieces here are my active pieces. Ask yourself, can I do anything with those pieces? Well, not really. I can't do anything that does anything with these pieces. I mean, bishop f3, it doesn't create a threat. So if you can't do anything with your active pieces, then you should look at your reinforcements and see how you can bring him in. Oh, is that Ketty? Hello, Ketty. Thank you for the raid there, and thank you so much for coming over. Another great commentator. Go and check out. Well, I'm sure a lot of you do, Ketty's channel, and I know she's one of the coaches for CoChess as well. Check out CoChess. It's a really interesting way to learn. Thank you for the raid. Most appreciated. And then, so here it's a case of bringing in a reinforcement, and this is the kind of move I play without thinking. Okay, I'm going to get Bjorn on the show. Oh, thank you for the donation, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So hang on a minute, we're gonna get Bjorn on Zoom now and get his thoughts on the game, and we're gonna see where he thinks he may have gone wrong. So let's do that. I'm just gonna open the link. Bear with me.
Been a while since last donation.
Hello, Bjorn. How you doing, mate?
Hello, sir. How's it going?
I'm going all right. I'm feeling like, you know, it was.
I can imagine.
How are you doing? I'm just going to get Bjorn's video, everyone at home. So this is my opponent, good friend of mine, Bjorn. And Bjorn, so you're what would you say, about 1800 rating?
Yeah, you wouldn't imagine it from that game, but yeah. Yeah, about.
It was a bit of an unfortunate game, really. I mean, where do you think it went wrong for you? Can we say so?
Well, to be honest, last time we played, I was just like crushed and like slowly and methodically just pushed back on the board, and I had absolutely no chance. To be fair, you messed up in the ending, and it ended up being a weird draw. But it was just no fun. So I decided, like, I'm going to aim my pieces at your king, and I'm going to try to attack. But I think the mistake I made was what you describe sometimes as premature ejaculation.
Yes, that
because
famous...
my G4 and just throw all the stuff up the board really backfired really quickly.
Yes, it's that famous phrase, premature ejaculation.
Exactly. Yeah.
which is something that Bjorn often suffers from.
Yes, and I think a lot of people at my strength do. It's you get out of the opening okay, and it's like, okay, it's time to attack, but it's really not time to attack, obviously. But I have no other ideas than to try.
Definitely, and I mean, look, I think it is a very common problem here, and I would say, Bjorn, you know, in this position, everything's kind of okay for you. I mean, it's
maybe you can even share your screen, because it's hard to follow on.
Okay, let's see.
Zoom.
Oh yeah, I can do that. I can share the screen, so we can do that here. And I've lost your picture now, though. That's why Zoom does these stupid things.
All right.
You might. I'm afraid you might have to watch it in the thing. So. Premature. What people are asking. Do you want to explain that again? Premature. It's like when you attack. So you're attacking in chess, but you're not doing it. And we did describe this. You're attacking from a position of weakness rather than a position of strength. And in chess, everyone wants to be an attacking player, right? I mean, attacking is one of the most fun things in chess to do.
Yep.
But you can't attack from. You can't just. Let's put it in a street fight situation. Yeah. Let's say there's Bruce Lee, and there's some really out of shape. A ginger guy who's about 30 stone. You're not going to go up to him, waddle over and go, "Hello, Bruce," and try to punch him, because you're going to fail, right? You need to build yourself up, maybe learn some martial arts first before you have a chance. And it's the same in chess. You can only attack from a position of strength, and that's why prematurely attacking, and the official phrase for that, I believe this is in all of Yusupov's books, and all the Russians talked about this throughout the ages, is premature ejaculation.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm joking there. It's a phrase I think we sort of made up at some point, but it's attacking a little bit prematurely. And here, if Bjorn, for example, had castled here, it's just a normal position, right? But you have bad memories of playing a slow game, so you wanted to make it interesting this time, yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to at least, I mean, I play a lot of these systems against the Dutch, and it's often very sharp. And in a Blitz game, I mean, my system sometimes works, but
not so easy in a long play one, right?
No.
So, I mean, castling here, I think, would have been more sensible. And just the fact is, in chess,
can I quick question?
Sure.
I was not even considering castling short, obviously, but could I castle long here?
You could castle long, yeah. I mean, it's very dangerous, because obviously your pawn structure is quite weakened. So you're certainly
with a double C pawn, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, just not actually double pawns, just that it's quite holy, your position.
Right.
So I think if you tried something like Queen E2. Trying to castle queenside, maybe this is a better idea, but I can always try to open up. If I see your king's going that way, I might be more tempted, for example, to play c5.
Yeah.
And the idea of this is, I'm going to get an attack on the c file, and my king is actually quite safe here. Maybe you can do this, but it's not easy to get to my king, because I think the thing you want to do when you go g4, you want to not take with a pawn. You need to keep the g file open, so you need to arrange it somehow, so you take the rook on g5. Could you couldn't have done that in the game, actually. Now could you? Let's have a look. Let's see what happens. So it went queen e8, And the problem with g4 here, it's just a bit weakening, I think, you know, in the position. Just a little bit weakening. I'm going to ask you one more question, Bjorn.
Yep.
It got a little bit exciting around here, and after this move, if I'd taken on f4, what was your plan there in the position? Any plan there? Let's say, if I take on f4 here, what would you have played against that?
Oh, right. It takes a while before the stream catches up.
Yeah.
So that's why also why I'm slow, and there are several reasons, obviously. But I would take the. I thought I could take the knight on f6.
Okay, and if I go queen takes?
Then what was my? If you went queen takes. Let's see. Hang on.
Oh, maybe you did have a good move here. Chris Baker, hello Chris, international master in the chat, is pointing out a good move. I'm just gonna. The thing I was worried about, I thought if you, I played knight e4, didn't I? But if I took here, obviously if I take here now, I was thinking you would take, and just move the queen in. This is what I was worried about.
Yeah.
And then if I play g6, I was worried about this one, right? This looked very scary for me. Maybe losing for me, right? Because all of a sudden you've got everything you want, and when you're attacking with 3 pieces, it's kind of like the magical number, right? So and I don't like this at all. So I can still go wrong here. I mean, so that was kind of what I was worried about. But yeah, in this position. But I think
is there a way, by the way? Maybe somebody in the chat can help us. Is there a way that we can share the analysis board? Because it's like 15 seconds after, so it's really hard to follow.
I'll tell you, I could Skype you and share screens there. How about that?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
let's do that.
It's just impossible to understand what you're talking about.
I'll give you a quick call and Skype, and we'll just share screens there. So that's the way. If I can find you.
No, I have to turn on Skype.
Does anyone use Skype anymore? I mean, like, does anyone out there? Does anyone in the chat use Skype anymore? Skype's like one of those things which I don't know if people use it anymore. Okay, let me just. Okay, I can put that there. Let's see, are you in Skype now?
Yeah, I can call you.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to mute myself and just share screens.
Share screen there.
There we go. You should be able to see it now.
Much better. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I think probably you're in a lot of trouble actually, because after Queen F7, I'm just getting ready to play E5. Your king's just so weak, and I think you have to try G4, otherwise you just got bad position. Now I take it. I mean, can you do anything else here? I don't see what you can do. I don't like your position. Maybe people in the chat, you can recommend moves. Chris Baker said G6, but I don't think White was ever able to play G6 at all.
No, because you didn't. Is this from the game? Yeah, this is from the game. Yeah. Right.
After this one.
Right.
Well, if you move the knight here, it's just like the game. I'm just going to come in or something. So this looks like the right way to play. But now I did play knight e. Did I play knight e4 here?
Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering about g6 here, but I just couldn't see it working. Because if you go g6 here, I think I just take it, right? And I don't think you've got a good move here. So I think you're probably just losing around here. I mean, one last thing, I suppose. You did take here. If you play knight h3, someone suggested this one, but it looks very passive. Can you? It looks really bad, this position for you.
I thought about both the knight moves. This is what I first was looking at, but it looks
really bad, right? It looks really bad, this one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Queen h5. Just, I mean, let's remember that I am threatening to win a piece here. So if you play a move like Queen h5, I just take your piece. You're not threatening anything against my king.
No.
G6 is nothing. I can just take that. You haven't got enough pieces attacking me here. So, but maybe you could try knight h3 here. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's just a very strong move in this position. But I don't know precisely what the strong move is. Someone's also recommending d5, but again, I have a number of. I mean, even if I just take your knight,
yeah, exactly,
and play something like rook e8.
Oh,
Maybe here. I could take on e3 as well, but I just want to bring another piece to the attack. This looks really good. I mean, whose king's weakest? I think is
exactly. Yeah,
it's your king. So I think knight h3 was the best chance. I'm just wondering what I should do against knight to h3. Knight to h3. Well, in that position, to answer GM Olby Holm, queen f2's checkmate, I'm afraid. So that is the answer to that. I mean, maybe I can play knight to f2 here. Maybe this is just winning on the spot. If you take the knight, I take on f2 checkmate. Yeah. I'm attacking your queen, and I'm threatening to get rid of the knight, which is defending, and you can't do that. Maybe knight f2 is just winning here. You can't go rook f1 because I'm going to take on f1 checkmate.
Check, yeah.
So,
can you go back a bit in the position? You probably explained this in the stream, but I was wondering why you didn't take on h2 when you had a chance.
I didn't want to give you any counterplay, so
right.
I mean,
because that was kind of what I was hoping.
Were you hoping I'd take on h2, or
yeah?
The thing is,
I thought I was like, I thought maybe in that position, okay, so it's a pawn, but okay, if I can get my king safe, maybe it will be dangerous for you at some time. But I didn't even.
Well, the thing is, I know you've probably seen from Target Tuesday, Bjorn. When I get this Dutch setup, and this is what I was telling people in the chat earlier, it's like when you play an opening, it really is so important. Not the opening, but the plans that you play in the middle game. And the opening is one way to really to get you in the middle game, but you must know what your breaks are. And anyone who's seen my games will know that e5 is the move I always like playing. And I kind of saw here, Bjorn, that e5 is just a good idea because your king's here. And I thought, well, if I just go for e5, I think your position is going to crumble. And I didn't. And I thought if I take here, maybe you go king f2. This is what worried me. And I thought with rook h1 coming, well,
exactly.
This you're actually. I thought you'd be a bit happier here because you're going to have the attack. And for example, rook h1 threatens to win my queen. If I try to get my queen out, then I think this could go actually. All of a sudden, I'm in trouble here. E6 is dropping as well. So I mean, what do I even play in this position after king f2? I didn't see a move here even for me. Maybe I'm just in a lot of trouble here, no? Right. I mean, I think the only way I can continue here is by sacrificing a piece because as soon as the initiative goes, I'm going to be the one defending. But I think because my position was so good anyway, I felt I don't need to attack in a crazy way. This is one idea. Maybe I can keep the attack going with rook f4 next, but it's
not worth it, right? Yeah.
If it doesn't work, I'm just going to lose this position, unfortunately. So that's the problem with playing this way. I feel. So Bjorn, thanks for the game, mate. Sorry it didn't go your way. You'll get me one day. You'll get me one day.
one day. Yeah.
One day when I'm completely legless or something. No, I'm joking. I obviously play a lot more chess than you, but I mean, I don't know if we can speak about what we've been working on, but maybe we can. I mean, we just sort of me and Bjorn, sort of, like we said, sort of joined in the Play Magnus group, and I suppose all we can say for now is that Bjorn's been programming a new website, and many other people have sort of been helping in bits and bobs, but Bjorn's the main brains behind it, and we should be releasing in about 5 weeks, maybe something like that.
I hope so. We have showed some of it before, but the project has been growing all the time, and now we're under the Play Magnus umbrella, so
it could be exciting.
That's a lot of fun.
Definitely. All right, Bjorn, I'm going to let you go now, mate, and I might just play a bit of Blitz for the next half an hour now. So we all love a bit of Blitz, right? So okay. All right, cheers, mate.
All right, cheers. See you later.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. Okay, so always nice to have see Bjorn in the chat. So thank you, Bjorn. And I'm just gonna. I think I'm just gonna finish the show now by a bit of Blitz. We all love a bit of Blitz, don't we? So let's see if I can get a bit of Blitz in. Now, one day maybe Bjorn is improving. You're not being rude, are you, Jerry? I hope you're not being rude, Jerry. Hey, Jerry. So let's I think what I'll do another day, I will play. I don't need these headphones on. Let's just start. I'll play subs. So if you sub to this channel, I'll just play subs another day. But I feel a bit. We did an hour of serious chess. Let's do an hour of Blitz now. Have a prediction. Rating is 2601. What do you think my rating will be by the end of the session? What do you think it will be by the end of the session? That is, I forgot my theory already. 2550. Thank you. It's good to know that you have faith. You have faith in me. 2600. So far, everyone is predicting that my rating will go down today during the Blitz session. God, it's great. It's great to have. It's great to have so many. So 2602, 2599. Does anyone? Okay, thank you, HL. Thank you, HL. One person thinks I'm going to improve. 2700. Soren, I like you. 3200. Let's not get carried away now, people. Let's see if we can get to 20. So I'm just thinking 20. Let's see if we can get 2650, shall we? Now I mean queen takes is clearly. I'm going to take with a pawn. This looks crazy, but I and it probably just is crazy actually. But I wanted to get my rook to the d file a little bit later on. Okay, we don't want to swap queens, so let's go here, and I can get castle quickly. Where do I want to put my knight? E2 or F3? I'm going to go E2, so I can get castled. Interesting position, and I'm hoping when I go rook D1, it's going to be very annoying for my opponent. So let's get castled. I always lose the first game with Blitz, right? Now, if I take there's rook here, and I'm spending a lot of time here. I'm trying to find some nice tactical ideas. Even this one is kind of interesting. Do I play that? Looks, well, I don't. Oh, I'm going to play it. Maybe I should have probably taken on c3 with a queen, keeping my pawn structure much nicer, but still an interesting position. My idea is to go knight f4. That's why I'm using my f pawn here, so I can try and cause some damage, or at least just keep some initiative going. But maybe there's nothing here, because again my opponent is one move away from castling, so I need to keep creating some threats here. So now rook takes f5, maybe knight g5 are threats that my opponent at least has to consider. Okay, so he's attacking my queen, and now I guess I have to come into this square. Very bizarre game, this one. But now my opponent can castle, and I'm a bit upset I've let him castle. I didn't really want him to castle, and if I have to start grabbing pawns, it's gone wrong. I always lose the first game when we play Blitz. Always the first game. I don't want to fall for a check, but this has gone bad. This position, it's gone very bad. That's what happens when you try to play, well, dare I say it, imaginative moves, or was I just playing bad moves? It's not over yet. I'm going to try and play some chess. Now, can I just do that and take the bishop? Why can't I just take the bishop? Why can't I just do that? What am I missing? Okay, I'm not normally this greedy, guys. And okay, so if I want to win, I'm going to have to give up my knight, right? Or can I come here? This is getting really weird. This is getting really weird. And now, can I do this and get as many pawns as possible? But with this coup de grace, bishop a3 as a little tactical resource. And I've got what we call in the profession some runners. Run, baby, run. I'm running toward the mountains as she runs. I'm running to the mountain as she runs. I'm running to the mountain. I'm running to the mountain. I'm running to the mountain as she comes. And okay, so I'm going to try to get rid of this one annoying pawn first, but I think this is probably just winning, right? This looks good. I might actually win my first Blitz game ever in my whole life. No, I nearly always start with a loss. And can I now just queen this one? I think I can. I think my pawns are too far advanced here. You can't stop Ari or Barry from landing. We won the first game! Can we get 100% today? I'm getting to 2650, boys and girls. Maybe 2700. Let's have a look. Okay, right. A Dutch. We all have a bit of Dutch action. You just saw me. Oh, he's going to go for the G4 idea again. Now, this is a line, if Bjorn's watching, that there's a much better way of playing. Because in this way, white gets the rook to that square immediately. Now he wants to take that pawn, but can I sacrifice it and create some issues? I'm gonna try sacking that pawn, but the idea of bringing my knight to e4. He doesn't want my pawn at the moment, so I want to keep the position open, because remember, it's a bit like the game against Bjorn. I am castled, his king is there, so if I open up the middle of the board, hence why I'm doing this, I don't like my bishop being blocked in. I don't mind losing a pawn. What is happening here? I'm really confused now of what is going on. Now, I could just play this one and say I'm a pawn up, but he does. I'm really confused now. I don't like going backwards. Can I go forwards? Okay, I'm going to go backwards. It is a pawn at the end of the day, and this defends that pawn and defends that pawn. I might have to. Well, we say defend, but if you're sometimes in chess you have to defend, and the more pieces that get swapped off, the happier I am. But I need to develop my guys, so this is now going to try to come in somewhere. Maybe I try to bring it towards the center, bring it towards e4. And do I tuck my king out the way here? Potentially. Do I bring my knight in? Let's bring the knight towards the center, as I said. It can even come to e6, which is a nice square. But he's playing well. He's keeping the pressure up here. I missed this move with the idea of taking that one. That's a good move. Yeah, okay. If his bishop gets in, it starts to get very dangerous for me. So what are we doing about this? Okay. Okay, we'll try. This was a move I totally missed. It's not nice missing moves like that, because your bishop position can get very bad. And now, again, how is this? Okay. That's what I said earlier. I don't like defending, and my opponent's he's found this is a much better way to play the g4 idea that we saw in the long play game. He's just going for it in what looks like a better route. So on the defensive, what am I even doing here? What am I doing with my pieces? I need to get my pieces in the game. Okay, let's get that knight off the back rank. And I have to keep trying to defend, but I don't like this. He's got h5 coming as well, and he's up on time. Oh dear, what else does he want, eh? But if I take there, he's got rook takes d7, so I need to take this way. Knight takes, rook takes d7, and here I'm just going to grab the pawn. Active defense. Queen f4, trying to win his rook, threatening his bishop. The best way to defend, if you can, is active defense. Always try to, you know, the best form of defense is attack. Who said that? Who's the guy who said that straight away? First of all, even. Who said that first of all? I wonder. Anyone know? The best form, or was it Bruce Lee again? We're having a lot of Bruce Lees today, aren't we? Queen c3 scares the hell out of me. He's bloody played it. I missed that one. That is really annoying, and that is really strong. I should have taken that one when I had a chance. I missed that move, and I'm in a lot of trouble now. Okay, we're going to lose this one. Sun Tzu's, the famous Chinese war person, I was going to say. Don't know what. Maybe. Well, this is just all over now, unfortunately. It's all over. Oh no, okay. We'll try again. That was bad. Let's get the bad game out of the way. We're going to go with e4 now. Someone's got a little bit of history there, or did they just copy and paste Google? Was that a copy and paste Google jobby? Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go with my Grandmaster Gambit's course. Now, I'm just trying to think the best way of meeting this move. And I think this one is actually what Alpha Zero played in a match. It's a very useful move to do, because you get your rook coming in over here, funnily enough. And I'm thinking I'm going to play this soon to try and do that. The reason my opponent's played the way he has is to get rid of my best piece, the light square bishop, and he's got rid of his worst piece, the light square bishop. So it's now very closed. I'm looking at pawn breaks, and my pawn break here is probably f5. So we're going to try and get the f5 move in. Again, in closed positions, pawn breaks are key. And I'm now able to play that move, which I'm very happy to play. And my other knight has a nice way in. Even exchanging queens and putting my knight there looks very attractive, actually. But I'm going to keep the queens on. Knight e3, very important part of this plan. He should probably castle queenside. And in this case, I could bring the rook to... I was going to say I could bring it to f4. I can't do that anymore, so maybe now to f1, keeping up the ideas there. And now he can't castle. He's gone that way. I didn't think he would do that because his king looks ready for the picking here. Look at that square for the knight. That is a gorgeous square with ideas of queen g4 and checkmate coming up. And I'm definitely playing that. And this is just I'm winning the queen now by force. Because I have queen takes g7 and also knight check. So we'll play this guy again. Let's play a black line. And this is the black line, stage 1. Okay, now this is one of the more aggressive and good ways to play. I think you should hold that pawn up with the h6 move here. We'll go here, and I had this against David Howell actually. This same opening variation, and what you need to do, you need to try and get through to this one. But against David Howell, I played a plan I talk about in my chessable course, and the plan I talk about there is getting the knight to h4, which is a very interesting and new idea, which I did against David Howell. We got a very interesting game, me and David Howell, when we played this. But I'm gonna take some precautions on the king side first, trying to get control of the dart squares. So f4 played, and we might have to do exchanges here because my king's a little bit weaker. My opponent's playing well in this game, playing very well, and now I'm going to try to use those dart squares that I was talking about. So I've got hold on the dart squares for now. Try to hold those ones. David who? David Howe? David Howell is the name. You don't know, if you don't know who David Howell is, one of the strongest chess players in the world. He's commentating superstar. And my opponent's now keeping up the pressure, and he wants to get his queen through here. So I'm gonna allow him to take that one if he wants to. You can just have that pawn. And I'm hoping now that my development is complete, I can have some fun soon, because I haven't had much fun in this game. I've been defending the whole way. So how can we have some fun here? Pin? Don't know if it does a great deal, that one. Oh, we need to get my queen over, but how do we get it over? Do I even take that one? Takes there. That looks so... Okay, let's just go here, shall we? Let's go there, because it might be able to come over towards the action. Might be able to at some point. Little bit more active there. Only a little bit more active. Okay, so he's now forcing my queen to come back. Okay, well, let's see. Is my queen a goner? It's certainly living dangerous here, right? But I don't have much choice. I've got to take that one. Dun, dun, dun. And now I have to take that one. It's scary stuff, but I'm really relying on my knight to hold everything up. And if I take... I don't know about taking. I need to get my queen over. Or do I just try... Okay, this is real backs against the wall stuff. Okay, I'm going to go here. I need to try and keep it closed. Thank you for subscribing, Enfield. Strange position. He's... Okay, let's use the extra pawn. At least it's a plan, right? Even if it's a bad plan, it's a plan. Let's just use Harry. Rook takes b3. Looks rubbish, right? I don't see that working. He's coming down, so I need to try and move my king out. And he's found a very good plan here. This is really a strong move because my king is now... I'm losing Harry and my king is in all sorts of problems. I have one idea. Checkmate. Will he fall for it? I'm actually threatening checkmate here from nowhere. No, he didn't fall for it. Now I'm threatening rook takes b3 check now. Amazing how I have some chances. Probably a better position for me now because e6 is dropping as well. But my time is really bad. And my position, I'm still defending here. And we know what I say about defending. I don't like defending. I don't like being short of time. I need to get my queen back in the game. Queen, okay, well, I have no choice. I just got to take it and hope I don't get mated. Okay, scary. I've got an extra rook, which he can win, but oh, very nice idea of my opponents. I'm getting mated. Well done there. Good game from my opponent there. Nice game, right? Nice game. My king goes back and he goes rook down, checkmate. Mate in the place. Oh, the London system. Oh, well, my rating's gone down, hasn't it? I was going for 2650, but not a very good start. This is what I play against the London system. This is again in the chessable course. Putting the bishop on d6, and well, I guess I can just play knight c6 here. It's quite interesting because you double your pawns, but you get another pawn into the center of the board. So he's lost the tempo now because he could have taken on that square immediately. And I like this kind of weird pawn structure. So I'd say I'm a little bit better now. Got to look at your opponent's move. I don't want to allow that knight coming in. Now, do I play on the queen side or even on the king side here with some crazy ideas? Well, he's going bishop f. Okay, let's try this anyways. This is the most fun way to go. Just trying to swing the rook around and attack, or double rooks here. Get some kind of attack over there. So we're gonna next plan, move the rook, get the queen in, try to get the queen supporting the attack. Has he got any threats? Not really, so I'm going to continue by getting the rook around just so my queen can try and come in. But I have to get rid of this knight first because otherwise I drop d7. And we're going to see if my plan is absolute rubbish or if it has any point soon. This is a really annoying piece. It stops everything. So I might have to move my rook and go h5 to get rid of that piece. Can I even move it? If I move it forwards, he goes here. So he's trying to get rid of my knight. Okay, so I'm going to have to go h5. It's the only way to get rid of the blockader there. And then if he takes it, well, that is... I don't have a good follow-up, do I? If he takes it. So I can't get this one to work. Okay, I'm just playing this. I don't want him to grab a pawn for free. I'm hoping he's going to move his queen away from control of h5, but he obviously understands what I'm trying to achieve. And he's not going to do that easily. I'm thinking g6 to repair this one, but I don't want to... That moving this g-pawn makes my king a lot weaker. Okay, well, I think I'm going to have to play it anyway. For example, now if his queen comes in here, it starts to look quite scary. I do have rook f7 to block the 7th rank. For example, queen here, h5, queen here, and if I take there, he has mate. So he's doing the same kind of idea, and I've got to rely on rook f7 now, this one, to cover those weaknesses on that side of the board. Right, so what is next? I've done everything I can on the king side, but I'm still not making much progress, am I? The only other thing I can think of is to try to reroute my bishop to do something. This is kind of like all in now, isn't it? Everything's moving in to try and do something. But he can move his king. He keeps defending by just doing that one. And right, he's still defending. Well, funnily enough, I thought I was like material down here, but I don't think I am material down somehow. Oh, he's getting the queens off. Boo! Boo! Okay. Yeah, well, I'm a little bit annoyed he did that, but what can you do? Ending style. Oh right, I missed that he was attacking g6 at the end, so I've dropped a pawn here. That's silly of me. Silly. So I'm a little bit worse, but I have the time advantage, and it's not that bad, this position, because my pieces are good, and even taking that is okay. Using the king, and should be at least. I'm still trying to win this position. This is one of those positions where you can still try to win because my pieces are so far advanced. But this is a good move coming in here. Can we stop that? Let's see. Let's try here. Bit risky. And I'll take that one now. Yes. Put on your pipe and smoke it. 2600 again. Right, okay, round 2. Let's go d4. We've tried out e4 a lot, right? We're gonna move on to this one now. And what should we play? We haven't played the London system for ages. Did you dare call me cheap, Jobius? How dare you assume that my ideas are cheap? There's lots of ways you can play the London system. I actually quite like this idea because we get a Dutch again, but I've got rid of my bad piece. My bad piece is my dark squared bishop. So we could even get, well, let's try c4. So I don't make it easy for him to win that piece. And now a very nice central square for that knight. But it could also be, that's a very good move for my opponent. Again, overextending my position a little bit early. That is an annoying move, actually. Okay, I didn't want to give this one up. E4 square, one of the big problems with my position. Queen takes, even maybe queen takes is okay. Try to do something crazy like this. Potentially castle, or go for another ending. Let's go for another ending, because my knight can come back, and I've got this lovely knight here, and the thing is he can't, well, okay, he can go knight d7 to develop, and he has gone knight d7 to develop, and this might lead into an ending which is slightly better for me. Is this, can I claim to be better here? I'm hoping I can claim an advantage because this pawn is what we call an isolated pawn. But I'm just realizing again this square is too weak and he's coming straight in there, which is annoying. But okay, I'm still trying to claim an advantage. My king, it is an ending. I can use that king to come forwards, maybe. in the position. I'm going to do that now because he was going to have a check there. Definitely seems a little bit better for me, this position. I've got this check if he tries to move his king forwards. And my idea could be this. He's going to put it, who knows? Who knows? Okay, so he's come straight in. And let's go, keep going forwards. Okay. Now where's that going? Is it going there, check? Okay, let's stop. Let's stop that check by controlling that square. And I'm not going to get mated here, am I? I'm kind of now thinking if he has a check, it's actually mate. I like the, but I don't think I am. I don't think I'm getting checkmated here. Okay, I still like my position. I still think I'm a little bit better here. Maybe, not much. And the problem is I've done everything I can do now, and I don't think I can do much more. And he's going to he's getting ready to activate his rook to e4. So I'm gonna probably this is getting nearer and nearer a draw now. My king's a little bit more advanced. I still prefer white. Still prefer white. Slightly. Do I? Got to stop that one. Well, I don't prefer my clock time. Okay, let's get the rook active. How is that ending? I don't know. How is the ending? Yeah, this is not what I wanted, because now he does come in. Oh, I've only got one check. Oh, I've misplayed this one. Misplay. We're gonna have to try this ending, but his king, suddenly my king has become much less active than his. And this could certainly be losing. Here, I feel it is losing this one. I'm going to get in a position where I'm going to probably allow his king to come in. He's got what they call is the opposition, and he's gonna, yeah, he's gonna zugzwang me now. Look at my time. Okay, I can cut. The only chance is to come to g6. Let's try that. Only way. I can't. You can't calculate this in time. It's far too. Could I have gone g5 there? Maybe. I should have gone g5 maybe. I can't calculate this one, guys. I think king f3 wins. Yeah? Is king f3 winning? I think king f3 is winning. He's found it. I've got to go here. I've got to run for the hills. Oh, eh? Oh dear, something went wrong there. Right, anyway, I'm going to call it a day there. Not a brilliant blitz session. Wah.